And a guten Erev Shabbos to one and all. Once again, welcome to our pre-Shabbat, Kabbalat Shabbat. It's nice to have you all with us online as we get together for a highlight in our week. The highlight in our week is gathering together. We can't gather together inside the shul, so this is our platform, using Zoom as our community gathering for our pre-Shabbat, Kabbalat Shabbat with special guests who are going to be joining us. But before I go on to introducing our guests and telling you more about them, I would like to thank and acknowledge our sponsors who have sponsored this afternoon. And we thank you for your generous sponsorship, for enabling us to continue doing the work that we are doing. So thank you all for being here. And let me just thank our sponsors publicly for everyone to see. Just bear with me as I pull up the names onto the screen. So first of all, we thank Shai Bukris and Karen Davidson for their generous contribution in honor of their upcoming wedding. Believe it or not, they're getting married on Sunday, please God. Mazel tov to the Bukris and Davidson families. This is your Ofruf. This is your Shabbos Kala. Thank you, thank you, thank you. May you have a beautiful life together and build a beautiful home together to Shai and Karen. We also want to thank the Miller, Reeb, Clef, Buhai, and Bohm families who have contributed in merit of a refuah shalema for a very close friend and family, Rafael Shemuel Be'ita Mira. May he have a complete and speedy recovery. And obviously our prayers and our davening go towards Rafael Shemuel Be'ita Mira this afternoon. Please God, it should bring him a refuah shalema. So this week is going into the parsha of Chukat and Balak. It's actually a double parsha this week, a double laning, a double parsha. And one of the themes we read about in this week is Bilam. Bilam, who comes to curse the Jewish people upon the request of Balak Melech Moab, Balak the king of Moab. We know that Bilam wanted to curse the nation. It was a very, very difficult time for them. Very, very difficult time as they were dealing with the risk of persecution and the risk of curses. And yet we overcame that because Bilam opened his mouth, and instead of saying curses, what did he say? He said blessings. And it's a message for us during these difficult times as we're going through our challenges during the COVID-19 virus and lockdown. One thing we have to remember is that from the difficult times comes a time of blessings. And please go through these challenges, which we'll be able to see in a revealed manner, in a clear manner, what the blessing is. God's richest blessings, they should be revealed to us. So let's focus on those brachot, powerful brachot of Bilam, powerful brachot of Bilam. Let's focus on them. And please God, may all of that transform into blessings for us. Just in a moment, we're going to introduce our guests here. One second. So I want to welcome our guest chazan and singer who's going to join Yuri and Doron, Moshe Lichtenstein, who is the lead singer of the Chuppah band, one of the most popular singers for chasanas and weddings in the country. Thank you, Moshe, for joining us. And we're also going to welcome a little bit later, Rav Abraham Plotkin from Toronto, live from Toronto. And as you all know, Chabad of Markham, he runs the South African shul there. More details about that, please God, later on in the program. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Moshe Lichtenstein, who's going to kick off with an introduction to Kabbalat Shabbat. And then we're going to have Yuri and Doron. And please God, we'll come towards our guest rabbi and guest speaker later on in the program. Moshe, welcome and thank you. 1 second, let me unmute you. 1 second here. There we go.
Good Shabbos, everybody. Thank you to Rabbi Stern and Rabbi Goldman for having me as part of the Sidman pre-Shabbos Zoom event. I really appreciate it. The music that we sing and the davening that we do should be as a chus and in the merit of everyone that needs a refuah affected by this terrible virus that's going around. And a big thank you to my wife and to my family who have all joined in, and a happy anniversary to my in-laws for tomorrow. So we're going to start off with a beautiful song about tefillah, and then we'll carry on into Kabbalat Shabbos. So thank you very much, and it's really again a pleasure to be here. אני מבקש ממך בכל ליבי ובזיעה תפילה שתמחה אותי בטרף ישמרה ותודיעני אוי רחתו ריבונו של עולם אני מבקש ממך בכל ליבי ובזיעה תפילה שתמחה אותי בטרף ישמרה ותודיעני אוי רחתו שצריכני מימיתך אוי וזכני אוי ולבני ביתי אוי לעבוד אותך באהבה ויראה אוי אני מבקש ממך שתברכני בימיתך אוי וזכני אוי ולבני ביתי לעבוד אותך באהבה ויראה אוי אני מבקש ממך So that's just to start us off, and we're going to do the first paragraph of Yudi Nefesh, another beautiful tune, and then I'm going to throw it over to Yudi and Zoran. Oh Yudi Nefesh Oh ya barachamon Meshoy chavdecha El Retzainecha Hoya Rutzavdecha Hoy Kemo Ayol Hoyishtachave Hoya Muladarecha Hoya Ravloi Hoya Diraitzecha Hoya Mi Hoya Naifetzo Hoya Yaivechol Tzam Yuri.
Shkoyach Maishi, that was beautiful. Great to have you with us. And we look forward to hearing more from you later on in the service. 40 שנה וכות בדוי ואמר אמת ילי בוים אם לא ידעו דרכוי אשר נשבעתי ביפי אם יבואו אל מנוחתי.
I just want to step in here, Yuri, before you continue, and to wish you a very big, hearty Mazel Tov and a happy birthday for today and for Sunday. And please God, a very, very good year of good health and inspiring the community in the forthcoming year, please God.
Amen, amen. Thank you very much. And all those that bless should also be blessed. So thank you very much. לפני אדוני כי יבוא, כי מלא שבו יתערת, ישבו יתבע ובצדק, ועמים באמונה. אדוני מלך, חגו לא ישמע.
Hoye shom avat ismach tzion b'tzagelna b'not Yehuda hoy leman mishpatecha Adonai ki ato Adonai Elyon Yalkol, Hoyaharetz, Hoymiad Naleito, Alkol Elohim, Hoyaveyadonai, Hoyasin Ura, Shmenavshot Chasidav, Miad Rishoim Yatzileim, Hoyar Zalwala Tzadik, Hoyule Yisraelim Simcha, Hoy Simcha Tzadkim Ba'adinai, Behaido, Zecher Kodshai.
Daron, are you there?
Yuri, 1 second here. I'm not pulling him up. No.
Is Daron with us?
Type in the chat, maybe I'll be able to see, but at the moment I'm not seeing him here.
Okay, I'll carry on. Bachat is the way to coil straightforward. Rio lifni amelech Adonai Ramayom Melaya Tibel Yahweh straightforward. Ne'adav v'shimka ucha Yacha. לפני אדוני קיבה ללמוד אורז ישבית היבה בצדק וימים במשוררים אדוני מלכים יש מלך משפט עבד כולנו That was the wrong song. It always comes on at an interesting time. Oy Moshe v'yarein b'choy hano u'shmoi v'kavoy v'shmoi Kairim el Adonai Oy baby yawamu doyonu yedawa beralehem oy shamru vaydoisam v'choy knasan lomoy Adonai Eloheinu Ato ani so Enoi say Yisrael V'noi kiman Eli Laiso Rai Bebu Adonai Eloheinu V'shtachol Yakodesh Ki Kodosh Adonai Eloheinu Bismillah Dawavi Havol Adonai B'nei Havol Adonai Kavod Vay Havol Adonai Kavod Shemay Havol Adonai Batras Kodesh Koil Adonai Alamoyim Veila Kavodi Adonai Al Ma'ir Rabim Koil Adonai Bakoy Achayay Koil Adonai Awadar Koil Adonai Sheber Arazim V'Shaber Adonai Etaze Alvonai V'Yar Kideim Koyegel Levonai V'Siriyain K'moy Ben Reimim Koil Adonai Chaytzev Lahavoy Say Shayayay Koil Adonai Yachid Midbar Yachid Adonai Midbar Kodesh Koil Adonai Koil Elayawalais Vayech Esayf Yeyawalais Lay 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 Ubeichol Oikuloy Oy Merkav Oy Dadoin Oy Lama Bol Yosho Vayeshev Adonai Melech Le'elam Ayayay Adonai Oishli Amayiten Adonai Yevarei V'lamay V'shalom Lay 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 Lay
All right, let's go. For those that need a referral, including Wayne Miller's mates. Shabbat, oy nekabelo, shamar v'zachor b'diburechad, ishmianu l'meuchad, Adonai echad, oy shmoyecha l'shemu tiferet, b'mitzid la'ayin echad, lo'idim, Nikras Kala, B'nei Shabbat, Hayayin Nekabela, Ayayay, Likrat Shabbat, Lechu B'necha, Yihi Mekora B'racha, Merosh Mikedem, Nesucha, Zoid Maseh B'machshavat, Tchilo Ayin Echad, Adoidim, Hayay, Nikras Kala, Hay Pnei Shabbos, Hayay, Nekabela. Let's go. Mikdash Melech, Ir Melucha, Chumitzei, Mitzaycha, Pecha'a, Kabbalat Shevet, B'yem Kabacha, V'hu Yachal Mol Alayich, Kem Lo Ayin Echad, Oidim. Hayay, Nikras Kala, Hay Pnei Shabbat, Hay Nekabela. Ayta Arilea Parkumi, Ishi Piktei Tzipar Tzechami Al Yad Ben Ishai Beit Zalachmi, Korba El Nafshi Deyala, Haylecha Doidim, Hayay, Nikras Kala, Hay Pnei Shabbat, Hayay, Nekabela, Ayayay, Shabbos, Ay, nekabelo, ay, 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 te voy shimelay, te kami, oy matzishloch achi, oy matzemi, ay, bach yechasim ayani eyami, ve'ni k'netzayir, al tzila ay nechad, skalo hoy pnei Shabbat hoy nekabelo ay ayul shisa shosage verachaku kom baray ay yasison ayef eloy hage kimsut khatan kana ay hoy nikratskalo hoy pnei Shabbat hoy nekabelo ay Yom Birusal Tibrati Veyatatona Zariti I How Yadish Ben Party Ay Venis Khamna Nida Bkhatoidi Ay Kratskala Hoy Pnei Shabbat Hoy Nekabela Ay la 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 Mizmor Shir. Rabbi Stern?
Yep.
You read your hand over?
No, Tadi Katamar. Let's go for it.
Okay. Tzadik Katamar Yifrach Ki Eretz Balvana Niskeh Oy shtolim bebeit Adonai Oy b'chatzrot Eloheinu yafrechu Hayayayayayod yenuvun b'seiva Oy t'sheinim v'rananim yeyu Oy lahagid ki ashar Adonai Oy etzuri velo yavlat aboy Ya la 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 Shkoyach.
Moshe, Shkoyach, and thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Rav. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
And keep on inspiring the masses.
Amen. Amen. L'chaim to everyone and refuah shalom to all those that need it. L'chaim, and thank you for having us here.
And mazel tov to our Ofruf couple, to Shai and Karen.
Mazel tov, mazel tov, mazel tov.
One second. Hold on. There we go. Go for it, Rabbi Goldman.
Thank you, Rabbi Stern. Mazel tov to our Chosen Kala, Shai and Karen, and thank you to our sponsors, Yeshkoyach Moshe Lichtenstein for lovely music, and Yuri. Happy birthday, Yuri. Shnas Baruch v'Hatzlacha. A blessed and successful year to you and your family. And we look forward to hearing you speedily in our day, live, in person.
Amen.
Okay. And so it's now my very special pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, and he is Rabbi Avram Plotkin of Toronto, Markham, or Thornhill, Durenkop, they call it, some of them. And he has the distinct honor of being the rabbi of most South Africans in Toronto, from what I guess. So let's welcome Rabbi Plotkin onto the screen, and we'll chat a bit before we hand over to him for some words of inspiration. Welcome, Rabbi Avram. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome. Regards from all of the relatives and friends and family that are in Toronto. I never received so many emails of the program today with my face on it. So, it seems like everybody in the community got this email. So it's really an honor to be here. I always I feel like Benafshe, Kshuda Benafshe, my soul is connected to the South African Jewry soul. And I owe you a great debt. I owe you a big yashikoyach for creating such a beautiful community for me. You gave it to me on a silver platter, and it's to no small measure because of the beautiful Yiddishkeit in South Africa that I was able to have a beautiful community here. There's something unique about South African Jewry that doesn't show up anywhere else in the world. And wherever the South African Jews go, they're shluchim of the South African Yiddishkeit, and they have a very, very strong ingrained Yiddishkeit in their soul, and we can tap into it. So it's really a great privilege and honor to be your soulmate and to pick up where you left off, so to speak.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rabbi Plotkin. And I had the privilege, Rachel and I, some years ago to be in your shul, a very beautiful shul and a beautiful center with lots of activities. I know you have a number of rabbis on your faculty. One is my daughter-in-law's brother, and your Rebbitzin is my son-in-law's cousin. So we go back and are connected in many ways. And I was there. How many years ago was it when you asked me to come for your 25th anniversary dinner?
Don't ask me. Since COVID, I don't remember time. It's like a billion years ago.
Well, it was a very nostalgic evening when I didn't stop getting hugs and giving hugs to old friends and congregants and acquaintances and neighbors. And it was very, very special. And I also got some emails from your people telling us that they're going to be watching especially. And you've been to Sydenham Shul also. You came to South Africa and you
Correct.
we hosted you at Sydenham Shul
Many years ago.
And this rabbi knows about South Africa more than any other North American rabbi, as far as I'm concerned. He knows Louis Botha Avenue. He knows from Takis and lifts and Breiflaces and probably a lot more.
Yeah. You forgot Boerewors.
And Boerewors, yeah. Oh, you see, okay.
Does Rabbi Plotkin speak Afrikaans?
Not really. I only know Yid Machaplan or something like that. That's all I know.
Ayut Makaplan vad werk. Yeah.
Okay. Works right.
Okay. So I said he's not quite tweetalig. That's bilingual in Afrikaans, but he's pretty close and very, very familiar. And as we heard from his few words, he really does get the mindset of South Africans, and in fact has the pleasure of being the spiritual leader of the mostly South African shul in Toronto. Toronto is, of course, a major Jewish metropolis today. I studied for a number of years in Montreal, Canada. When I was there in the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s, Montreal had a bigger Jewish community than Toronto, but then they had politics there too. And there was emigration from Montreal, Quebec to Toronto, Ontario, a different province where they didn't have issues with other languages and French and whatnot. So we have similar experiences there too. Toronto today is Ir Ve'em B'Yisrael, a beautiful, bustling Jewish community, and you are one of the leading rabbis there. So we're very grateful that you've joined us on your Friday morning. And I see on lots of advertisements and on that you and your wife are very busy on Zoom these last few weeks, giving I think lessons on marriage and coping with each other in lockdown. It's one thing when you go to work, but you got to be together the whole day. That's quite a formidable challenge.
Yeah, the name of our class is The Silver Lining. That's something I like to speak about, there's some ominous clouds, but right behind the beautiful silver lining that reminds us that there's some important lessons to be learned in these difficult times too.
Okay, so you and your wife both sharing messages of positivity when we really need it. I used a line in my What's New newsletter yesterday that always we told people to be positive. Today we're praying we should be negative.
Yeah.
Anyway, but we still need a dose of positivity amidst all the negativity. So it's my very special pleasure to hand over, to welcome, to introduce Rabbi Avram Elia Plotkin, a dear friend and a respected rabbi in Toronto, and one who is known to many of our brothers and sisters and cousins and relatives and friends who are in Toronto. So we'll ask Rabbi Plotkin to give us a few words of inspiration for this Shabbos. Thank you.
Okay, it's my great honor and privilege, and the crowd is still speaking about your beautiful speech when you were here, and you really rocked the crowd, and it was a very, very moving moment. You know, Jews, we end up all over the world. Some of us end up in South Africa, some of us end up in Canada. We're everywhere. Wherever we are, we seem to be like on a little detour on the way to Israel. When the Jews left Egypt, you know, they wanted to go straight to Israel, and Hashem said, I have another plan for you. 40 years in the wilderness. And those 40 years, initially the Jews looked at it like, wow, terrible tragedy. But if you look back in retrospect, those 40 years became the development in our embryonic stage. This is what developed who we are today. Where would we be if not for the 40 years in the wilderness, when we studied Torah, when we prepared ourselves as a nation before we came to Israel? So all of us, we end up in different situations in life. And many of us say, oh, you go driving down the road and you see there's traffic ahead, there's a detour. So you think that it's a detour, it's a mistake, it's happenstance, there's no reason for it. No, if you ended up in Toronto, you ended up in South Africa, there's a reason why you're there, and Hashem brought you in that place, in that part of your life. And it said, there's a beautiful verse in Tehillim that says, Hashem mitzad gover kananai, that Hashem, he orchestrates, he has a master plan. He plans exactly where we are every single day. There's never a mistake. When we end up somewhere, even a difficult situation in our life, that is part of God's plan. And I'll just share with you something personally in my own life. We had a special needs child that was born to us 17 years ago. His name was Zalmi. And I remember like today when he was born, we had big plans for all our children. And when he was born, the doctor came out, his face was white like a ghost. He dropped the baby on my wife's lap. And he says, it's trisomy 21. I had no idea what trisomy was, but I found out very, very quickly. It's Down syndrome. So we had a Down syndrome child. So suddenly we had this detour in life, you know, like suddenly we had this one plan. And Hashem says, you're going a different direction now. And initially we were very concerned, very worried. We didn't know what was going to be with our life. But as time went on, we were able to see, hindsight, that this was all part of a master plan. I'm just going to share you one of my Zalmi stories. I have a lot of stories about my son Zalmi, who unfortunately passed away 2 years ago. Another great tragedy in our lives. And but we're able to see the light a little bit. We're able to see certain moments in our life. And this is one of my most favorite stories. It's a story when my daughter just had a wedding about 7 years ago. And it was the Shabbat brachas. My wife sent me, says, Avramela, she calls me Avramela, I want you to go to pick up Zalmi. So immediately I guessed where he was, because Zalmi, he was a very physically fit kid. He liked to go to a place with a nice playground. And one day in a place that's about 5-minute drive from us, he spotted in the back of a Burger King. I don't know if you have Burger Kings in South Africa. Burger King is not a kosher institution. It's like a McDonald's. And it's not Nando's. Nando's is kosher, I think, right? So it was a Burger King, and my wife says, go pick him up. There was a playground right in the back of the Burger King. So she said, go pick him up. So I go, okay. I ran quickly. And the way I used to go, I would never go inside the Burger King. Chas v'shalom, a rabbi in a Burger King doesn't make any sense. I used to send in the nanny to help in the house, and she used to go with him, and I'd go with my cell phone, drive over and pick him up. So I did the same the same routine. I went there and I arrived at the Burger King, and oh yeah, I forgot my cell phone. I left my cell phone home. I didn't know what to do. Now I'm stuck. I'm in a position. The mechatanim are waiting. The whole family is waiting at the Shabbat brachas. I have to go pick up my kid, and I don't have the cell phone. I have to go back. It'll take too long. So I say, first thing I do is I go around the room and I put my face into the window around the building. People probably thought a crazy rabbi looking through the windows, and I couldn't see him through the window. So I say, I got to do this. So I put down my hat and I said, Shema Yisrael to myself. And I ran into I said, I'm gonna run in and I take my kid out and run out. Nobody will see me. So I run into the Burger King. And the second I run in, I hear somebody give a shout, Rabbi Plotkin, what are you doing here? Oh my gosh. I give a look and I see a girl, Nikki. Nikki comes over to me and says, Rabbi, what are you doing here at the Burger King? I said, I'm asking myself the same question. I'm looking for my son. She says, what are you doing? She says, you won't believe what just happened. I said, what happened? She says, I knew Nikki. Her mother was a South African. She came to from South Africa, Toronto, many years ago. And she tried raising her daughter, but her daughter was a rebellious type. And she went off the derech, she went off the path, and she married a non-Jew. And she had a number of children with that non-Jew. And I hadn't seen her for 10 years. And she says, here I am sitting eating a treifa burger. And she knows what it is, what treifa is. I'm eating a treifa burger. And I'm saying to myself, her mother passed away a few years ago. She says, I turned to my mother in heaven. I said, Mama, Mother in heaven, if there is a God thinking about, I think God forgot about me already a long time ago. I'm sitting here in the Burger King eating a treifa burger. But if there is a God in the world, show me a sign that he is there. And there, as I'm saying that, you walked right in. What bigger sign can there be? A rabbi in Burger King. So, first I was taken aback. And I said to myself, I got to make something out of this. I say, Nikki, it's almost Pesach. What are you doing for Pesach? She says, well, I don't know. I'm not doing anything. I said, I'm married to this non-Jewish guy. I said, you got to come with your kids to my Seder. And so the next Pesach, Nikki came to the Seder. And one thing led to another. The next year, her son had a bar mitzvah in our shul. The year after that, he went to a Jewish camp. And the biggest nachas I had when I was at the camp, child calls me up, Matzah Shabbos, he says, Rabbi, I need you to come tomorrow morning to be my sandik at my bris. Imagine, this kid, after his bar mitzvah, he never had a bris. Because in camp, he learned that Avraham Avinu had a bris at 99 years old. So he said, if he could have a 99 years old, I want to have a bris too. He called me to the bris, and I was a sandik. I went all the way to the Catskills from Toronto. And the following year, we sent him to a yeshiva. And he took on the name. His name today is Alex Menachem Mendel. That was the name he took up for honor at the bris. And today he is a full-fledged yeshiva bacher. And his whole family have started keeping kosher and Shabbos, and an incredible metamorphosis of the whole family that came only because of my son Zalmi. The truth of the matter is Zalmi wasn't even there that time. He was in another place. And furthermore, after that, my son Zalmi never ever asked again to go back to that place. Never. And so I was able to see a little glimpse of the hand of Hashem. You think sometimes you're in a difficult situation. You think you're in COVID, and it's the worst thing on earth. It's a detour. Hashem is giving us a detour. Suddenly, you say, it can't be a detour. There has to be something good about this. We're suddenly loving shul again. In this week's parsha, it says, Matova Lecha Yaakov, Mishkan Asecha Yisrael. Bilam, the goy, the non-Jew, he says, how beautiful are the shuls. How many Jews have said that 5 years ago and 10 years ago? Every Jew has a shul he doesn't go to. But to say how beautiful the shul is, Matovu, he says, how beautiful. In every shul, the chazan and the cantor, I see a beautiful choir, sings Matovu. Yeah? Don't ask me to sing, I'm a rabbi, not a chazan. Matovu, how beautiful are the shuls. Now every Jew says, I'd love to come back to shul. I can't wait to be in shul full-fledged, without a mask, without social distancing. We all want to go back to shul. We love our families again. We're together with our families. We're spending so much quality time. We're spending time studying Torah on Zoom like never before. I've never given so many classes in my life. I never had so many people on shiurim before. There is the silver lining. There is the positive. There is the plan. Hashem directs us. He sends us. He sends us detours, but they're not detours. They're directives. They're just like the GPS, just recalibrating. re-sending us in a direction that only Hashem knows. So let us all turn to Hashem and ask him to show us the meaning and the directive and where we're going and why we're going in that way. And we'll understand that even something in our life that appears on the surface to be a tragedy, something that appears to be tough and difficult and challenging, can be the greatest light in our lives and the greatest lesson in our lives. So we wish you all a good Shabbos in Sidnam Highlands North. And we're going to be thinking about you, and you'll be thinking about us. And all the Jewish people will get out of our detour very shortly. We'll leave our detour and get where Hashem really wants us to go to the rebuilding of the third Beis Hamikdash with the coming of Mashiach Tzidkenu in Eretz Yisrael, Ir HaKodesh Yerushalayim, from Heidav Yameinu. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Yashakayach Rabbi Plotkin for that beautiful message. Thank you for sharing a beautiful message. Thank you for sharing your personal family story, your Zalmi Ol Vasholem. And okay, guys, who wants to go with me to McDonald's tomorrow night? Let's go look for some detours. Eh?
I'm glad you got the lesson right.
Okay, yeah. I just want to clarify, not all Nando's are kosher. There's just one kosher Nando in Johannesburg. Okay. But anyway, that was great, Rabbi Plotkin, and thank you very much. And please give our best regards from one community to another. We're like sister communities. So please give our best, give a gerus to all your people and our people together.
Amen. Amen. Yeshakayach for the opportunity to speak to you.
Right. So thank you, team. Thank you, Yuri. Thank you, our sponsors. I'm going to hand over to Rabbi Stern to close the afternoon. And I wish you all Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Rabbi Plotkin. Thank you to Moshe Lichtenstein. And once again, a hearty mazel tov to Shai and Karen on their upcoming wedding on Sunday. Thank you for including the community in your celebration. And we once again thank the sponsors who have sponsored for Refuah Shalema, for Rafael Shmuel Ben Ita Mira. May you have a speedy and quick and full recovery. And I know his friends and family have joined us here for the davening. And there's nothing more powerful than tefillah. As we spoke this week to the family, Torah, tefillah, and tzedakah can help us. And all those who need a refuah shalema, there are quite a few in the community that need a refuah shalema. So this is a time to do it. And any extra level of observance over Shabbos, keeping Shabbos a little bit better, or adding your tehillim or your davening and your learning, have in mind all those that need a refuah. And please God, we should hear only good news over the weekend. Besorot Tovot. A reminder about our fascinating Monday night lecture with a man who calls himself the son of a Nazi. Dr. Bernd Vollschlager was born to a Nazi and joined and fought in the IDF. If you want to hear his fascinating story, you'll subscribe and register after Shabbos. We look forward to Monday evening, 8 o'clock. And also on Motzei Shabbos, Saturday night, in fact, we're going to be joining Cape Town in a joint project to host our good friend, Rami Sherman. You all remember Rami Sherman, who was here, who was the hero of the Entebbe story, the Entebbe raid. We're now celebrating 44 years.
Is he not still here? Did he actually leave? When he said he was talking, I thought he's actually still in town and he's going to still be.
We'll be hosting Rami Sherman online. So join that. The details have been sent out in the shul emails, and a WhatsApp will be sent out after Shabbos as well to join that program. In the meantime, Shabbat Shalom. You're more than welcome to mute yourselves on the way out as we celebrate Shabbos. Candle lighting tonight is at 10 past 5, and Shabbat Shalom to all.
Shabbat Shalom.